Welcome in. Start of a new week on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Do you still not have a horn? Woo!
Horn's back.
All right, you
baby.
got the horn. Nice. All right, did you insert it after our last show? Because I know you probably saw that video I put up.
John fixed it. He
Oh,
said,
he did? Oh, okay.
I walked in this morning and he was like, yeah, I got it fixed for you. So appreciate you, John, very much. It was a very sad show on Friday where I couldn't have my my horn, but yeah,
It's
we
okay.
we
I
got
liked
it.
your persistence anyways.
Yeah, it's
A
it's
paper just slowly.
Sorry, we got something else regarding our Salt Athletic giveaway that we'll be talking about before we get to the question of the day. That's what we will
Okay.
we'll be talking about.
All right, a paper slowly slides into the right side of your screen. All right, we'll make sure that we bring that up here for question of the day. We are giving away bags. I just thank you for reminding me of that. That was something that we were kind of pushing at the end of our shows last week. We got about 100 of those things, so we're looking to get you an opportunity to get your hands on one of them. And again, the smell-proof cleat bags are great for everything. I had a dad I still have a dad, believe it or not, but plays hockey and always needed something probably of the sort growing up. I don't know if it's big enough to fit skates, probably is, but anything you can put in there. Again, save 15% by using promo code NSN15. Again, that's NSN15. Save 15% of those Salt Athletic smell-proof cleat bags today. You can also go to saltathletic.com for that as well. But continuing along here, this start of a new week on Inside the Game. So an opportunity to give some of those away to you guys, but a little bit of a later start to the show today, Ryan. I know that you had a visit to the dentist and maybe a slightly disappointing one. Something you haven't seen in a decade, as you were telling me during that trip to the dentist. But hey, man, I know what that feels like because I've had to bow out of a few episodes once upon a time because of the dentist. But tell you what, the dentist sucks. I used to enjoy that experience when I was younger, but it's not really the case anymore. It's terrible.
No, it's yeah, I had to go to the dentist today, and again, that's the first time I've had to go. Like again, all these like doctor's appointments and everything were like scheduled when I was not even a part of a show every morning, so everything is kind of like messed up. So like obviously 6 months ago, but now every doctor's appointment, eye appointment, everything is now tailored towards this show. Now this one was the last one that wasn't. Went to the dentist this morning, and my dentist, the last couple times I've been to the dentist, like it's his office. He hasn't even been there. It's this other guy. Which I've never met before, but he seems to just like tell me that I'm not doing my right teeth thing. Well, I can't brush my teeth 5 times a day after every single meal. Like that'd just be a waste of just toothpaste and toothbrushes every single time. But no, I have my first cavity in like a decade plus, and yeah, again, that feeling's not for like another 2 months.
Womp.
Yeah, it's
there you go.
It's not good.
Yeah.
But the only thing I don't understand about dentists is the fact that you guys like, oh God, it just annoys me. God, it just like you can't just say that you're like, oh, you're bleeding everywhere, like your gums are bleeding. Well, when you stick a metal rod in my mouth and keep poking at it, eventually it's going to bleed regardless if I'm a good toothbrusher or not. I don't even know if that's the right proper term, but like you just can't.
It is now.
Like you just, I don't know. That always annoyed me. It's like you can't just say that when you just stick metal rods in my gums. And it still kind of hurts, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, it's just it's just bad.
Growing older is realizing that everywhere you go, it's a business at the end of the day. I feel the same exact way about going to the doctor's office. Doctor's office doesn't get very much money out of me on an annual basis. All right, right? Like I go to get my physical, I go to get my flu shot, but with the exception of those two things, they're not going to see me all that much. I actually went the last time I went to the dentist. She pulled up my medical record. She's like, you kind of have a boring medical history. I'm like, yeah. I mean, most
I think
times I
that's a
try
good
not to
thing.
put my. It is a good thing. It's a great thing. It's because it means you don't put yourself in compromising positions and have to go back all the time. Now, a lot of that is okay. You don't put yourself in bad spots, or it could just be that you lucked out. You didn't get a rare disease or something didn't happen to you. But either way, they realize that they don't get enough money out of me every year because I'm only paying my copay for my annual physical, and that's about it. So they do my measurements and they do all my stuff, and they're like, yeah, they're like, your good cholesterol level is too low. You should come back in so we can talk about that. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I remember bringing that up to my girlfriend Emily, and she's like, well, she's like, they're just gonna tell you to like eat more of something, and then they're just gonna send you on your way. Like this isn't they're not bringing you in to like actually give you like any sort of like medicine or something grand that you need to do. They could have just told you right there in that moment exactly what to do. And I go in, and all they tell me is, hey, eat more fish. Okay, that's
Fish
it.
is
That's all. That's
gross.
that's the appointment. We'll take your $40 and we'll send you on your way. You wanted me to spend $40 just to tell me to eat more fish. Why? Because at the end of the day, they're a business, much like anything else. They have to make their money. And so let's convince the guy to come in and make him feel like there's something seriously wrong with him, only to tell him, hey, you need a little bit more omega, whatever the hell, in your diet. Or unless I don't know, you're gonna keel over. I have no idea. Dentists are the same exact way. It's a business. It's a business because it's like we gotta do the gum exam to see do you have bad bacteria in your mouth. Whatever it is. Yeah, all the other little add-ons that they have so that they can get you over that limit that insurance is giving you so that maybe you can pay out of pocket so that maybe they can make a little bit more. It's all car companies, it's all the same. It just is what it is. Everywhere's a business. They're just looking to make money.
I would say that if you do the bare minimum in terms of, I shouldn't say the bare minimum, but if you just go to the dentist once every 6 months, you get a physical every year. You do if you haven't, like I have contacts and glasses. If you go to your eye appointment once a year, and or whatever other stuff there is, like I remember I had an ear, nose, and throat doctor when I was a little kid because I had ear infections
ENT. Yeah,
every 20 minutes. It felt
me
like.
too.
Um, if you just go to the bare, it feels like if you just go to the bare minimum and you do all your like appointments that you have to do every year, I think that you will eventually find out that you will live a long, healthy life. Obviously, I'm sure that there could be something down the line where something unexpected comes up, then you get checked out, then maybe you have to do all the extra stuff. But no, I would say if you just do the bare
Genetics.
minimum, like going to the dentist, going to get your physical. I don't even know the last time I've had a flu shot, if I'm being completely honest. Like I think the last vaccine I had was COVID, and that was
Mm.
2021. So I don't think I've ever even had a. I don't. I think the last flu shot I've had was probably the last time I've had a cavity. I think that's the last time I've had a flu shot. Um, but no, I think if everyone just does the bare minimum in terms of that, you guys will be a-okay.
Yeah. I forgot to get one this year, and I'm paying the price for it now. But yeah, you're young. You got that immune system kicking, so it's a good place to be. But no, everywhere is a business, and they're all trying to make money in one way or the other. So
Oh,
that's just
there's
kind of how it goes.
one thing that the doctors won't tell you that will like help cure any cold. There's these things called Z packs. Get them. You take them within 2 days. Your whole cold, like you have
Oh
a
yeah.
horrible sinus infection, it goes away in 2 days,
Yep.
and you'll feel like a
Yep.
million bucks after 2 days. That's something that they won't tell you. So for the people at home,
Yep.
get some Z packs.
Or just drink electrolytes and sleep all day, and that'll help kind of jumpstart you back in the right direction.
Well,
So
if you have to absolutely go to work or you absolutely have to go somewhere, take the Z packs. If you have to broadcast a
let's
game,
turn
take
this
the Z
into a
pack.
medical podcast.
Yes, we're gonna turn it into a
Yeah,
medical
yeah, no,
podcast.
it's true. But welcome back in here on Inside the Game yet again. We got a packed show coming up for you guys here today. Kind of a laundry list of topics to get to on the soccer portion. Man United taking down Arsenal. I know our good friend Ryan Glinsky would love to talk about that one. They're back in the title race, Ryan. It's happening. Only 12 points separated, but who cares, man? That's not that big. But they could go on and win it. Biggest turnaround in sports history. It's the next thing coming. It's bigger than Indiana. It's bigger than anything else. It's on the way, all right? Pepi and Fulham. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Some big news coming down the line there. Also, Donovan Philip signing a new contract, a 2-year contract to play in Major League Soccer. Unbelievable to see his journey from where he was at Flint City to obviously winning the Mac Herman Award and now getting his chance to show off his stuff in Major League Soccer. Also, some news about Sergio Ramos getting back into things on the ownership side of the conversation. But before we get to any of those talks here today on Inside the Game, we do have some information that we wanted to share with you guys in terms of soccer camps that are coming up this summer. And we're doing a lot of partnerships here on the National Soccer Network, beginning with FC Bayern. Summer soccer camps, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels. FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. Right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. We'll be right back. Learn more at fcbayernyouth.com. Back live on Inside. Ooh, voice crack coming out of commercial break.
Oh boy.
Ooh, Nate Wangler inside the game.
If I did this show the day after the Michigan basketball game, I would have had a ton of voice cracks.
Yeah. How was that, by the way? I was watching the
electric,
the jersey retirement. Really?
electric.
I bet it was.
The only thing that I would say that was wrong about the whole jersey retirement was the fact that Ward Manuel, it felt like, was trying to make it all about him. Like, he was, again,
of course.
First off, Ward, you weren't even the AD when Trey Burke was playing. It was Dave Brandon, who I think, or he got kicked out. He got fired, I think, after the Shane Morris thing. But, like, Ward, he was the one that, like, kept trying to get next to the banner while I was trying to go up. I'm like, dude, you should save that for John Beeline or his family, one of the two. But I think his family stayed with Trey. So if that's the case, you put John. Ward's trying to tell Trey where to, like, go, even though the people with the headsets that are there for, like, the in-game experience people, they're the ones that should be the ones explaining it and are trying to explain it. But it just felt like the whole time Ward was trying to make it about himself or have, like, some sort of say in it, mainly because Ward knows that he has done a lot of bad things at the university. I'm telling you, Ward's got photos. He's got photos. He knows something about the university that doesn't want to get put out, so that's why he's still there. I'm telling you, Ward knows something that we don't know.
Yeah, it's hard not to sometimes dive into the conspiracies and just admit that he's just an egotistical person who wants to be at the center of everything. And we saw that with how he handled Jim Harbaugh's situation. We've seen that with how he's handled pretty much everything else. I mean,
Juwan.
really, it started with Juwan Howard. You just took the words right out of my mouth.
Let me
It
say
started
one
with
other thing.
Jafraud, and then it carried on to everything else.
Let me
Go
say one
ahead.
other thing. For the Michigan State people that on Twitter talk about how they've like won the last like 4 games against Michigan in basketball, sure, I'll give you last year, but you can't flex that you beat an 8-win Michigan team and then their starting point guard couldn't do their homework, so he couldn't play half the games. Like, you can't flex beating an 8-win team. You just can't.
Yeah.
It's like if someone flexed that they beat the
All
Lions
I'm
in the
saying is
2016 year. You just can't
if that
flex
all-
something like that.
if that logic flies, though, then we can't flex 49 and nothing. You know what I mean? I mean, because they were lost.
Then we can't flex any Michigan State win then.
Well, what we can flex is the fact that they don't have a Big Ten win in the last 3 years because they wanted to also play people that don't do their homework.
They do have one. They beat Maryland. They beat Maryland at Ford Field.
Oh, okay.
They beat Maryland at Ford Field. So they do have one.
That one counts?
I feel like it would have to, right? Because it happened after the fact, unless.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
I
it
think
did.
it would
Yeah,
have
you're
to,
right. You're right. Yeah.
But we can flex
I'll
49-0 all we want because Michigan State didn't even want to play the game, and then they still blame the signs. But when you take the quarterback and bring him to the sideline to get the play call, and then also all the unnecessary roughness penalties in that game where Braden McGregor is on the ground and a lineman just
we
can absolutely flex that. We can absolutely. Right. You guys didn't even want to play the game because you were scared of player safety. You can't. We can flex that one, but you can't flex an 8-win Juwan team.
Yeah. Well, while I like to take the opportunity to remind Ryan every single opportunity I get how much I love the state of Indiana and IU football. More than that, I love having the ability to troll MSU fans and let them know, like, hey, IU got a national championship before you guys did. So, yeah, we got to.
Yeah, that's fine, too.
You got to go, back to the 60s, the last time MSU won one in football, I believe it was.
You can also flex Indiana by saying to Ohio State fans that Indiana has an undefeated national championship. You could say that. Because the last 2, Ohio State lost one. At least a game.
Yeah. And a Big Ten championship, something they don't know anything about since 2020. But let's get into some of our soccer talk here today on hour number 1 of Inside the Game. Again, we got a lot of different topics here today, so we'll just toss it over to Ryan. Ryan, take it away. What's the news?
Well, I'm trying to work on this Donovan Philip thing. It's hard to make a graphic while you're trying to do a show at the same time. So let's do. Let's talk about Man United. You're the one that I looked at the sheet today and I go, in the title race. What are you talking about? So if you're the one that wanted to talk about it, go ahead, talk about it. Sure, they beat Arsenal yesterday, but
all right.
If you watch the game and no ball, United's not in the title race.
Well, here. This is all they'll say about this. And you mentioned that it's a catchy headline and it caught you and it got you to click on it. ESPN, like anybody else, is not immune to doing that. They're not immune to clickbait. They're not immune to catchy headlines that get you to click on it. But here's what I'll say about all this, right? United's victory moved them into 4th place, right? 12 points behind the faltering league leaders, 8 behind Man City and Aston Villa, in 2nd and in 3rd place respectively for those 2 teams. 1 ahead of Chelsea and 2 of Liverpool. But I don't think anybody really necessarily expects them to be in the race, genuinely in the race. But the one thing you can't deny is that they are in the mix with that win over Arsenal. And you had brought up earlier that the way in which they played, the style in which they played, the mode in which they went about winning that game against Aston Villa was not pretty. It was actually everything far from pretty. And they're obviously going through a managerial change, something that, you and I have talked in length about as to who the next is going to be. So is it ridiculous? It is a ridiculous prospect to consider that United were in turmoil less than a month ago following the dismissal of their manager. and just 14 months in charge. But the shortcomings of the top three have kind of opened the door for anything. My question isn't necessarily is Man United capable of doing this, but if they can keep their form as of late, it doesn't seem like a sure. It seems like there's kind of a log jam at the top of the Premier League. Like who would be your favorite if the season were to end today to go win? Like that's my question. Like, is there a far and away number one right now? It just seems like chaos at the top of the table.
Well, if Arsenal decided to lock in, they would 100% be at the top of the table. But this is all I got to say in the whole matter. If Manchester United is in a title race, the Detroit Lions are in the Super Bowl this year. United's not in a title race. And if you actually go back and watch the game yesterday, that's not going to carry over from game to game. It's not. The style of which they did, Arsenal gifted them a goal, and Dorgu and Cunha scored two of the best goals you'll see all year. There's no, and to beat Raya from that range and to place it so well, they're going to win the game. You could also argue Arsenal didn't take it to them. Arsenal didn't play well. No, Arsenal didn't play well. They couldn't connect the pass to save their lives. But the thing is, if you look at the Arsenal and the Man City game, the way that the game has unfolded, it's not sustainable. You can't continue to play that way and expect to be in a title race. And it's not a knock at United. They're better than what the previous years were. They have better players. It's also when you spend billions and billions of pounds, that's right, billions, you should expect to be a little bit better, United. But all I'll say is you're there in the middle of a new manager bump. Michael Carrick, for some reason, in the 5 games he's ever managed for Manchester United over the course of like 5 years, he's like undefeated and has beaten some of the top teams. I don't understand how he does it, but they're in the middle of a new manager bump. I would say it like this. The Detroit Red Wings last year, when they finally got Todd McClellan and they started winning some games after Lalone got fired, that's exactly what United is, and they're in the middle of their new manager bump at the moment. Could they finish top 4? Yes, they could 100% finish top 4. But to say they're in a title race, well, whoever wrote that article, very good job to you, because you got a lot of people, and like my dear friend Nate Wingler, to click on it and to actually think that United is actually in a title race, and to get someone like me to talk about it, because United, as we all know, is not really in a title race. They are just not in a sustainable way to win games like this. And then we'll all know that they'll sack their manager in December of next year or of this year because they didn't get it done, and then they'll get a new manager bump again. It's just how the cycle continues to work since Sir Alex Ferguson left.
Yeah, I mean, it is a vicious cycle. I won't say, okay, maybe I'll take back the contender part. Maybe you're right. That's just a catchy headline to get people to click on it. But what you can admit is that it's been a surprise how they've been playing. It's kind of been a little bit of a shock.
No,
I would figure a
it's
team
not
that was
been a
in disarray
surprise. They're not
that they're
playing
winning.
well. They're not
No,
playing well. Like, the way that they're playing is not the way of a contender plays. It is not. Look, I'll say this. If Arsenal goes on to win the league this year, people will I already know what the headlines are going to be. It's going to be, this is the weakest champion of all time because City's not consistent. Villa's towards the top. Liverpool, who spent 500 million plus, they're horrible. Chelsea, very inconsistent. They just fired their manager when they were in like second place, which again, Chelsea's gonna Chelsea. But this is a year where a team like Manchester United, based on the way that they play, based on how everyone else is playing, this is a year where they could get into the 4th or 3rd place. But there's something to be said about an empty calorie season. Like, if you look at Michigan football this year, empty calorie season. Their best win was Nebraska, maybe Nebraska or
probably.
Washington,
Yeah.
and those two teams weren't very
Yeah.
good. I'd say Washington's probably the best win. But you could look at Indiana the year prior. That's an empty calorie season. They didn't beat anybody with a pulse, and they got blown out by every team. Michigan this year, blown out by USC, blown out by Oklahoma, blown out by Ohio State. You could say some of the games were close, but no, it's an empty calorie season. And I think the way that Manchester United will finish out the season ultimately, it's going to be an empty calorie season. Yes, they beat Manchester City at Old Trafford. Yes, they beat Arsenal at the Emirates. But there's nothing to show for it. They've already been knocked out of the FA Cup. They got knocked out by Grimsby Town. They're not in Europe, and they're not going to win a Premier League title. They finished top 4, sure. We could say it's a good season for where they were. But it's just going to be an empty calorie season. And what's going to happen is, sorry if I continue to rant about this, but again,
No, you're good.
what's going to continue to happen here is all of a sudden there's going to be a new influx of money. They're going to buy a whole bunch of players that flop. They're going to have a new manager. They're going to have high expectations, and the manager gets sacked in December. And then we do this, and then we're back at square one, which we are right now, currently on January 26th of 2026. So what's just going to happen?
Well,
it's just a cycle.
In leaving the fantasy of them potentially doing something that, again, to you just seems inconceivable, which I understand exactly where you're coming from. The next question on my mind is, and you had mentioned it, and I guess we just kind of passed it off as just is what it is. For some reason, he just finds a way to do it. Is Michael Carrick a long-term option for Man United?
No.
I mean, is he?
He's already
no.
said
Why
no.
not?
He's
already said no. Oh, all right. Well, then I guess he doesn't want that.
Why is Michael Carrick not a long-term option? Because he said himself he doesn't want it.
Michael Carrick doesn't want it.
He said himself at the end of the season he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be the full-time manager. He's given Manchester United this little runway. Maybe down the line, all of a sudden, he wins all these games and they give him an offer that he can't refuse, and he has to be the manager. Sure, but he blatantly said he doesn't want it. So.
But how bad is it in Man United that he wouldn't want something like that, though? That he wouldn't jump at an opportunity like that? He just must see the writing on the wall. He must understand that how this organization works.
Nate, if you worked at a company and you left, you were there, you got that's your first job out of college or high school, you worked the job, you did a really good job at it, and you left it in 2009. Left in 2009, 2010, right? And you go on to this really good company, you kill it wherever you're, everything's top of the line stuff. But when you left your old job, everything was top of the line in 2009 standards. You go in and you work there up until 2021. Top of the line stuff. You know what? I want to go back to that company. I'm going to get a massive pay raise. I'm going to go back. And when you go back to that company and you realize that nothing has been updated since 2009, and this is the exact same way that it looked in 2009. Mind you, we fast forward to 2021. That answers your problem, or answers your question about why Manchester United is no one wants to be there, because nothing has been updated. Again, I'm talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. This is what Ronaldo has said. He said nothing was updated. In terms of the weight room facility, in terms of the changing room, in terms of the medical area, everything's the same. The fact that your stadium has waterfalls every time that it rains onto the stands, when everyone knows that you just need a gutter system, and then when you have players like Alexis Sanchez, who, mind you, our former Arsenal player, moved to Manchester United, says, well, after one training session with them, I asked my agent if I could go back to Arsenal because of how poorly it's ran. And then for Sanchez to also say, the players know that it's ran poorly, but they're given so much money that they're just there to get the paycheck and hopefully just maybe win a trophy. That's what I would say why Manchester United has the writing on the wall.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty damn good breakdown. And clearly the manager doesn't have any say in these changes, doesn't really have
so I think that there's something going on at the club that everyone has kind of hinted at, that no one has really done a deep dive on. Sir Alex Ferguson, greatest manager in English Premier League history. There's no doubt about it. What the guy did, unbelievable. You could say he got a lot of favorable decisions. That's up for you to decide. But yes, he did get a lot of favorable decisions. But when I hear Michael Carrick say, before he takes the interim job, I talked to Sir Alex Ferguson before I got there, and you hear some of the GMs, quote unquote, the sporting directors is what the actual term is, but for the GMs, we talked to Sir Alex Ferguson. At what point, off Europe every day, we got to run stuff how we want to run stuff. You can't just keep going back and back to the past and saying, well, is this okay if we do it this way? Is it okay if we do this? They're not even in the game anymore. They're not actually. It's like if the Lions decided to keep asking Barry Sanders about every single trade and every single draft, or Or this is a better comparison. If for some reason 10 years down the line, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, they're not coaching, they're not doing anything, they're just chilling at home, and all of a sudden the current GM and head coach continues to ask them questions. At some point, you have got to let the past go and do things on your own. You can't just keep asking somebody who did it really well 10, 15 years ago and expect that you're going to get the same results. The game has changed. The game has changed tremendously to what it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Man United is just stuck in 2012. That's basically what it all boils down to.
Yeah. And they're going to end up continuing to lose a good portion of their supporter base if they just continue to. I mean, this is the definition of ignorance, is just continuing to go back to something that that doesn't work. So
I would say they would lose a supporter base, but they all stick around. It's like saying, once you're with the team, it's like me saying, well, I'm not going to watch Arsenal because they keep sucking, and they have my entire life, basically.
Right.
But I still watch every single game, even during the banter, even during the social experiment of the team that was 2020, 2021. No one can convince me that was not a social experiment for Arsenal fans. That might be the worst soccer I've ever seen played, and they still somehow finished mid-table. Makes no sense.
All right, very quickly here before we head to our second break, Fulham back in talks for the U.S. men's national team's Ricardo Pepi after a new $38 million bid for the PSV striker. That is it's a very good chunk of change, Ryan, but continues to make progress in negotiations to sign U.S. international forward Ricardo Pepi from PSV. This, according to sources briefed on the situation. A second bid, the Premier League club did, of $38 million. Well, there's still a gap in valuation. The London-based side is getting closer to PSV's valuation. Talks between the two sides are ongoing. Now, you didn't really see the point of this move. Pepi, by the way, who turned 23 this month, has made 22 PSV appearances a season, 11 goals, 2 assists, 18 goals, and just over 1,100 minutes last season. And obviously for the U.S. men's national team, 13 goals, 34 caps total for the USMNT. And I do still think someone that could be on that roster in 2026. I don't know where he slots in with the group that we already have. But you had kind of made reference before we came into the show today about how you don't think the move really makes a whole lot of sense. What says you about what's going on between PSV and Fulham trying to bring Pepi on and $38 million?
It's a dumb move for Pepi's sake. For the clubs, no. But for Pepi's sake, dumb move. Here's why. Pepi, you were hurt. You broke your arm like 2 weeks ago. You're going to be out 2 months. What happens in the summer? 2026 World Cup. Where's it hosted? Your own country. And you going to a new club coming off of an injury. We've seen it time and time again. It never works. Coming off of an injury, going to a new club, unfamiliar faces, unfamiliar surroundings, unfamiliar fans, unfamiliar players, unfamiliar coaches. If you stay at PSV, come back from an injury where you've been there a couple years, you know the playing style, you know the standard, you know the club, or you know the environment, you know the atmosphere of the stadium, you understand all the rivalries, you know the ins and outs of what you need to that little gray area that you might not know going into Fulham. You understand everything at PSV. So my solution to you is, Ricardo Pepi, is you stay at PSV and you wait until after the World Cup, make your move then. But going into a World Cup year, coming off of an injury, and going into an unfamiliar place where, again, Fulham, it's a very physical league. A lot of people don't realize, and a lot of players have said it, that it's very fast, very physical. That's the way the Premier League plays. You should stay in the Netherlands, stay with PSV, and come back 100% healthy, and make sure you get your touches in, you get your fitness, you get your confidence up, because once June rolls around, you're ready to go. But for you to go into an unfamiliar spot, coming off an injury, absolutely dumb. You should not do it, Ricardo Pepi. Signed, Ryan Glinsky.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, it's a letter. If I was writing a letter, that's what I would say.
And I'll add this on to what you already said, and you might have hinted towards it, but you already have a set relationship with the people that you are working with and that you're playing for at your current club. So in terms of the timetable in coming back from injury, in terms of the expectation of, hey, you just landed with our club, there's a certain set of expectations as to how long you're going to play, how active you're going to be. We have a set vision of what this is going to look like when you get to us, and I don't know what the vision is from Fulham and what they exactly plan on doing when Pepi gets there. It could be something that is completely detrimental to him, as you mentioned, getting his body ready to go for the 2026 World Cup. And if that's not the main focus right now, especially for bubble players like Ricardo Pepi, which I would consider him a bubble player, I wouldn't consider him a far and away that he's going to be our guy. I think he's on the bubble. And so everything you need to do right now as a player who's kind of in that mix is to focus on getting your body ready for the 2026 World Cup. That needs to be the focus. And so I think, number one, the relationship that you have with the club, the fact that they understand the situation you're going through, they might be more receptive to what it is that you want to do in terms of getting your body back ready to go. I think it might, in some ways, some people could look at this and go, well, it's not necessarily career suicide, but it is you're intentionally making a choice not to take a leap because of what may happen. Well, my body might get banged up. Well, I might not be in a situation that I like. It is interesting in that way, but in terms of if we're going to be doing risk assessment, if the right time to do risk assessment is right now. Like if we were not coming up on a World Cup, it would be a much different conversation. I don't think this is something that Ricardo Pepi would, frankly, really even think twice about if a World Cup wasn't coming up. But with his position and kind of the ethos of the U.S. men's national team, you're right. I don't think it would be the worst choice in the world for him to be like, hey, you know what? Let me fight through what I need to fight through right now. And then if the topic comes up later, or if there's a chance for a move maybe after the World Cup, then we can get into it there. But I mean, if I'm Ricardo Pepi, and again, this is just speaking from my perspective, everything that I'm doing is in focus for what's coming up, obviously in under 4 months or 4 months, whatever it is. So up in June.
Yeah, I would say, and I'm looking at an article that from one of the British outlets. Who is Ricardo Pepi? Yeah, I don't even know who you are anyway. I would say this. I think that we're going to see after the World Cup, and I think in the 2027 January transfer window in the summer of 2027, I think we're going to see a lot of action in terms of the men's national team players moving around. I think that's 100% right. But I think right now, I think if you're any player, this doesn't even just have to be with the USA. This can be for any single team, any international team there is. I don't think you see, and there's facts that prove behind a lot of this in terms of any nation, is a lot of players do not want to move teams right now simply because of what's coming up. This happens every Euros. This happens every Copa America. This happens every World Cup. Players simply don't move places before these huge international tournaments because of one thing. They either have a couple things. Either they have a really good club situation and they get, actually, this is one reason. They have a really good club situation and they don't want to risk any playing time. And that's exactly what Pepi has. You just said 22 appearances. Pepi's not getting that at Fulham. Raul Jimenez is already there. Pepi would be another backup. And if Pepi, he should just stay where he is right now and then after the World Cup, make that move. Or next January. But right now, all focus has to be there's only one exception to this rule, and that's the Josh Sargent situation. That's the only exception. But Ricardo Pepi, stay at PSV and get it done. And then we'll be rocking with you come June time.
Yeah. And the reason for obviously Josh Sargent's move is far different than that of Ricardo Pepi. But let's take one more break. When we come back, we got a couple of other things we want to get to, some news when it comes to Sergio Ramos. He's back in the game, not on the playing field, but in the front office. We'll also talk about Donovan Philip, who just signed a big deal as well. All that and more coming up next and Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
and start watching today.
Back live on Inside the Game, Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Good conversation here in hour number one, entering our final segment of this first hour here on the National Soccer Network. Wanted to touch on this first leading out of break. He is someone that we have, I feel like if there's one soccer program that we've mentioned more than any other program in America, really since the start of the college season, it has been NC State. We had a chance to talk to their head coach. Obviously, Donovan Philip is someone that is very close to the network and is someone that we've called his name a million times. I got to broadcast a couple games for him last year, including their international friendly against Liga MX side that came up to Flint, which was a really cool sight to see, a little Mexico versus United States matchup there. But Donovan Philip has been someone that we have been keeping a close track on, and he was their dark horse. NC State was JT's dark horse coming into the year, and he said that pretty loud and proud, and Donovan Philip was a big reason for that. But the 21-year-old St. Lucia native under contract through the 2027 season with 3 additional club option periods through June 2030. He will occupy an international roster spot. Colorado selected Philip number 62 overall in the third round of the 25 MLS Super Draft as he started for obviously NC State, as we've talked about. And they've made a couple of comments. Fran Taylor says he's a dynamic attacking player, strong competitive edge, and he's proven ability to impact the game at critical moments. And that's exactly what he was. 19 goals, 2 assists, and 22 matches with NC State before making their run to the final. There's you get a look at Signs Pro contract, a 2-year contract with the club, options all the way to 2030. So a lot of options available, but won the Mac Herman Trophy this year with NC State, played for the Flint City Bucks this past summer, and made it to the Final Four. That's a big trophy, by the way. Goodness, that's to size. That is to scale a soccer ball.
Yeah.
Don't drop that thing, man. Don't drop that. That's precious material right there.
Yeah,
but
I didn't think of that. Yeah, you're right.
Sick to see Donovan Philip make that leap. What's that?
So that's a big trophy. That's what she said.
Goodness gracious.
But
Philip is like I said, he's a massive human being. I mean, that's the one thing that really pops off the page. So you knew that from a physicality perspective, he would have no issue translating his game from NC State to obviously where it's going to be in Major League Soccer. But not just another one of those guys, man. The awesome news, and Colorado got a good one.
Yeah, I would agree. My first ever broadcast for the National Soccer Network was their win in the quarterfinals, and I kept calling him Phillips, and John told me at halftime it's Philip, no S. So shout out to some broadcasting mistakes. But I do also want to point this out. I know we got some time here, but I also want to point this out in terms of soccer. And we talked about, last week, Dan White saying that, he doesn't like soccer. And I think a lot of people don't like the game of soccer because they don't understand it. And I think a lot of people don't like things that they don't understand. Like you'll hear a lot of people say they don't like food because they've never tried it before.
Never tried it,
but,
right?
Like if we're looking at Donovan Phillip's pathway and Philip, his pathway, and we're talking about his path to pro here. I mean, he did it a little bit the traditional way of going from a college to being drafted via the super draft to now on a pro team. And a lot of people probably resonate a lot of it because with Donovan Philip's path here, because what do all American sports have? A college, they play college, they go pro, they get drafted, some go back to college after getting drafted, and then shout out Charles Badioko and James Nanji, shout out to them. And then they go play pro and that's it. But a lot of soccer, it's through the academy ranks, and you don't necessarily have to do it, or you don't necessarily have to go to college to become pro. You can go through the academy ranks, you can go play for a pro team right out of high school or college, whatever the age would be. And I think a lot of people like this pathway compared to the other pathway. Sorry, the sun's really starting getting in over here. Glad it's sunny here in January here in Michigan, but no, it's a lot of people I think resonate with this pathway that he did compared to what, other players have to go through. Like if you look at Christian Pulisic, obviously, you look at our stars in the men's national team. None of them went through college. Ajuman, obviously, the only one that has went to college, I believe. Maybe I'm forgetting. Oh, Matt Turner went to college. I forgot. He had the non top 10 play, the horrible not top 10 play. But I think
Division 3.
a lot of people are going to resonate and kind of like this pathway compared to the other ones simply because they don't understand it.
Well, and here's what I'll have to say. And I think we can all admit to this, and I think we can all acknowledge this, that the people that are identifying talent in the United States, while they may be getting better, they ain't perfect. And as a matter of fact, I would argue that there are things and extenuating circumstances that allow certain players to get a leg up that other players are not going to get, whether that be because of the position you come from, what area of the country you're born in. There's just certain parts of the country where either development or recognizing or earmarking certain talent is not where it needs to be. So the people that are identifying the most talented players in our country maybe are not completely up to speed. Now, again, we are getting better. The game is becoming more popular. And so with that, everything gets better. Refereeing gets better. Identifying talent gets better. But it's not perfect. So this idea that we're only going to target players from this certain group, we're only going to go after the academies, we're going to go after the kids in the United Soccer League, we're going to go after the ones that are playing in these specialized groups and these clubs and these leagues, and we're just going to kind of leave the NCAA and high school ball just to its own devices. It's just so pompous, it's so arrogant, it's so stuck up, and it's so country club vibe-esque in the United States that it's no wonder to me that there are actually certain players that I would argue that are just out there in the ethos right now that it could absolutely help the United States become better every single day, but they're not getting the recognition they deserve because of this country club atmosphere that we've created in soccer. And Donovan Philip, in my personal opinion, goes against that. He goes against that grain. And in Colorado, we even said that. Like, we have used the expansion of the super draft and more draft pool and more draft capital to go after and to target kids in leagues or in spots that maybe we would not have looked at otherwise. The NCAA being one of those, Donovan Philip being a prime example of that. And also, I think the other thing that we have to be willing to admit, Ryan, is that maybe the best development years of these kids' lives isn't when they're 10, 11, 12 years old. It's actually when they turn 18 and 19 and 20, when their body is growing and they're hitting the weights and they're figuring out how do I get the most out of myself? How do I impact a game? Right? That is the most important thing. Any college athlete, if you want to go play, find how you impact a game. You don't have to do everything. Find the one thing that you do better than anybody else and become the best damn person at that one job. Now, Donovan Philip is versatile. He can do everything. But for us to be like, once they get to college, we've already seen what their development is. They can't turn into anything else. That's hogwash. That's hogwash. And I know that scouts and talent developers and people who run these clubs they're gonna be the first one to tell you. Well, I can tell. Well, right away I can tell. I can just tell at 9 years old that they're gonna be. No, you can't. No, you can't. Just stop it. Stop it with that. Stop.
Thing.
Yeah, stop tricking these parents into spending thousands upon thousands of dollars because, I mean, I get it. It's a business, right? You want to make your money. No, he's not. Just because he wears the uniform doesn't mean he is him. So it is that's the thing that always, I think, to me, if there's one thing that pops off the page the most about this, it's that, yeah, he did take an unconventional route, but I think it serves as a reminder that there are more players like him out there. Donovan Philip is not the only one in this list. There are other players that are just like him that, again, are just fighting for that chance, fighting for that opportunity in a league that, or in a pathway that is otherwise, again, disrespected because we want to be like Europe. What is it with me and the accents today? We want to be like them, but so bad that we're not even willing to kind of investigate those things. But yeah, I mean, I think of Patrick Agyemang. I mean, he was Division III. You talked about Matt Turner. I think Matt Turner was D. I think he started off at D3, if
Turner,
I'm not
I think,
mistaken.
was D3 because Agyemang, I thought he went. I don't remember. Well,
I thought Agyemang was D3 and then he transferred. I thought he'd maybe transferred up. I have no idea. Yeah, exactly. Well, So I always love seeing the small school kids do well. The Indiana Wesleyan, who's in the NAI, they play Cornerstone every year. They actually just had a guy promoted from the G League to play for the Spurs. So it's wild to think an NAIA team has a guy in the NBA. But That's the
Eastern
reality.
Connecticut State University. That just sounds like not a real college. Uh,
That sounds like the week 1 matchup for Ohio State next year. Actually, I think that's who they're playing.
It doesn't say what division. For soccer. Oh no, it'd be
Eastern
Division
Connecticut.
3, and then kicked it out to University of Rhode Island, Division 1.
Little roadie.
Matt Turner College. It's gonna be something weird. Oh, Fairfield University. Okay. Where that sounds normal. Not Eastern Connecticut. There was a game.
Dude, there's some universities with weird names. But anyways, go ahead. I'm gonna do a separate Google search here.
I broadcasted a men's basketball game last year for Central Michigan, for the radio, and I'm looking at the schedule because obviously before the season everyone kind of picks like their games that they're doing, they get scheduled for. And I'm sitting there and I get the men's game and I'm like, Central State. And I looked there, I was like, is this even a real college? Like, is this even a real school? Central State? But no, it's a real school. I think it was a D2 or something. Yep. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, so I can't even call like, you know how like, you might see like, every team kind of has a nickname of some sorts. Like for Central Michigan, you'd be like, oh, it's 30-10 CMU, 30-10 Central. Like you hear that. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, what do I even say for like, because their mascot was weird. I think it was a really hard to pronounce thing. So like I had to say, hey, that's a bucket for Central State. Like that just sounds weird. Like it, sometimes you just get those weird ones. But yeah, no, Eastern Connecticut State just sounds weird.
I was doing a hockey game recently, in one of the teams in the ACHA D2 ranks in the women's game is I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Assinibone. It's in Canada. It's not in the United States, but it starts off ASS. Those are the first 3 letters of this university. So I'm almost curious when they like have like the score bug up with like the abbreviation. Is it just ASS? Is that what they go by? Ass. But anyways, moving on back to our original point. But it is it's just cool to see those guys climb the ranks. But like you said, Ryan, the talent is not restricted to one area or another.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I thought we were going to the Sergio Ramos thing real quick because I do.
Oh, we are, yeah.
Because I do have a list of
of
current players that actually own a club or have a stake in club. Have a stake in a club now. So, introduce her real quick.
So that's the next thing that we wanted to get to. Sergio Ramos, getting back into the mix now, wanting to be an owner, which is something that I know we were focusing on, looking to purchase Sevilla after playing for them, so returning, and now wants to buy the organization and put up a fairly large bid in order to do so. And it seems like something that is bound to happen. But you go ahead, get into your list.
Yeah, he sent a 450 million euro bid to become the owner. And yes, he did play for the club. But here's just a couple of players that own stakes in clubs all across the world. Cristiano Ronaldo owns a stake in Al Nassr. Kylian Mbappe with a team that I can't pronounce. Beckham, obviously, Inter Miami. That's not an active player. Now, this one's weird to me. I have to do some research during the commercial break. But Luka Modric in Swansea City. I don't understand this at all. Luka is Croatian. Swansea's in Wales. Yeah, Luka Modric played for Tottenham in the Premier League, but he just played Tottenham, Real Madrid now. I think AC Milan now. That one makes no sense to me. I'll have to do some research during the commercials. Zlatan owns Hammarby, PK with FC Andorra, Didier Drogba, Phoenix Rising FC, N'Golo Kante, which you will hear a little bit about N'Golo Kante in the all sports section here in a little bit. Paulo Maldini, Miami FC, and then my GOAT, Thierry Henry, Como FC. So a lot of players, own stakes. And I haven't really done my research, but maybe you know the answer. Do any current American athletes, doesn't have to be soccer related, do they own stakes in any of the NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL teams? Like I know JJ Watt owns stake in Burnley FC, but in Espanyol and RS Espanyol, but do any other athletes own stake in other club teams?
Yes. So Patrick Mahomes has a pretty wide-ranging portfolio.
Oh, he's got the Royals,
has
doesn't he?
Royals, Sporting Kansas City, Kansas City Current, which is the NWSL team. And I don't know if you want to consider racing in this, but Alpine F1.
Yeah, for sure. I love F1. That's good.
LeBron James, which is wow. So the Boston Red Sox, which I did not know
What?
about that.
I thought he hated Boston.
I mean, maybe it was a good business opportunity. I'm sure that there's.
I thought that he hated Boston based on the fans and how.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does, and they absolutely are. But I mean, just from a business opportunity perspective, maybe it was a good choice. But the Pittsburgh Penguins, Liverpool FC, RFK Racing. So, yeah, he has. So, yeah, I mean, there's, and then they go into former athletes, but I think it's a lot of like the top end, like really high earning, like superstars that we're seeing. Kevin Durant, another example of that. Aaron Rodgers has stake in the Bucks.
Who's
Aaron Rodgers?
Who?
Kevin Durant, Philadelphia Union. And New Jersey and New York Gotham FC, NWSL.
Okay.
So a lot of them have stake in the NWSL.
So maybe we can do this as a discussion for another day. We should discuss like why a lot of Americans, it's not even just the athletes. We think of Michael B. Jordan with Bournemouth. Why do so many Americans have so much stake in European soccer clubs, or just not even the European soccer clubs? But as you mentioned, there's MLS and NWSL teams. Why do they have so much stake in soccer clubs? Maybe we'll save that for another day.
I think
discussion.
Yeah, I think a part of it is diversifying your portfolio and investing your money in places that aren't the United States. And obviously the valuation of that money is far different in different countries. And obviously you don't want to keep all your millions all in one place here in the U.S. because I'm sure that it doesn't grow your money, and it also puts it at risk at the same time. But yeah, we'll step aside. Coming up next, our all sports part of the show here on Inside the Game, episode 1 this week on Monday. But before we get to that, wanted to tell you guys a little bit about these soccer camps. We were talking about FC Bayern a little bit earlier. FC Barca Academy is a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the U.S. Designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18, Barca Academy follows and replicates the FC Barcelona game model, the same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. That's FCB30, or scan the QR code on your screen.
In Barca camp, I sing my song grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca camp.
In Barca camp, I sing my song grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca camp.
Back live and Inside the Game, Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. As we get into our all sports content here today, wanted to tell you guys, by the way, give us a follow on National Soccer Network, wherever you find us on social media. Live weekdays, 9 to 11 a.m., generally speaking. A little bit of a later start here today. But getting into our all sports talk, Ryan, you shot something over to me yesterday that you were really adamant.
Hold on.
Oh.
Quick bone to pick. I just sent you a text. I'm scrolling through Twitter here during the commercial break, and this guy named Brad Townsend. He's a Dallas Morning News sports enterprise reporter who also covers the Mavs and the NBA. This guy tweets in downtown Dallas, "You know the streets are bad when you got to get a hotel in your own city." I'm looking at this, and it doesn't look like there's more than 2 inches on the ground. What do you need a hotel for in Dallas when there's 2 inches of snow on the ground? I'm not saying my car can get through the snow in harsh conditions, but you know what? You know what, Brad? I get through it every single day. I drive my Chevy Trax around, and it still gets through every single day. It's blizzards half the time. It takes me 20 minutes to get to the studio, I would say. And to interview Jasmine Ike, it probably took me like 40 minutes to get here. And you know what? I got here, did the interview, went home, no issues. I didn't need a hotel. I didn't need a hotel to do all this. But I don't understand what the South's issue is with 2 inches of snow. Sorry, I just need to put that out there because they just ticked me off.
You know, I used to think the same exact thing. And to be honest with you, I know there's still babies when it comes to snow and ice. Yeah, I was in San Diego in December, man. I mean, like it was like 59 degrees, 61 degrees outside, and people are bundled 60. Up in coats. Dude, I would be outside in shorts and probably not a shirt right now if that was the case. I would be smiling from ear to ear. But that's just the reality of when you grow up in a warm environment. But here's the part that this is probably why he's at the hotel, right? The snow is one thing, the ice is one thing, but I remember being in Laredo for a job opportunity in Laredo, Texas. Now that's like, I think the second southernmost city in the state of Texas. Brownsville is the only one that's further south, but I mean, I could literally pick up a rock, throw it across the river, and hit a building in Mexico. Like if that gives you any sort of understanding as to where we were, that was it, right? And so I was so tempted to do it too. I'm like, what if I could break a window in Mexico? You know, that'd be awesome.
An international crime. That'd have to be, right?
Probably.
I mean,
I don't know.
It has to be an international crime. So I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't advise everyone at home, don't do that.
He committed international vandalism. But no, I didn't end up doing that. But I asked him a question because you remember, I think it was back in 2021 when they got like their big freeze, like actually like pipes freezing, like the whole thing, like people's like houses were falling to pieces. And it's because the infrastructure in Texas is not meant to support it when it has snow and ice. Like the way that they wire their places, like the fiber that they use, all of it, like down to a T, it is not built for snow and ice. So if they get snow and ice, that's when it's like they start to freak out because it's a very real possibility, Nate, that there could be infrastructural damage. It's not about the snow. It's about the ice.
I'm talking about him driving his car. It does not look bad at all. It is 2 inch. It might not even be 2 inches of snow for all I know. But you're telling me you have to buy a hotel room because it snowed 2 inches in Texas, which, if we're being honest, it's going to melt in like 24 hours anyway. You're telling me you can't drive?
It might have a layer of ice, man. You know, you never know. I'm less concerned about snowfall than I am about ice cover. That's all I'm saying.
It looks like it's just snow. The South is soft. Let's get into Indiana, Leicester City real quick.
Go ahead, kick it off.
So I come across this list yesterday, and everybody knows my whole vendetta against Indiana football and all this and all that. Everyone thinks I'm a hater against Indiana football. Sorry, when you have 47 players that are older than me playing college football, you're gonna get some things back from me. But I saw this list on Twitter yesterday said best all-time turnaround in sports. Indiana football is number 1. 2025 Indiana football. Number 2 is 2015-2016 Leicester. I'm sorry, but when you have going into a season a team that is favored to get relegated, also for all the people at home, Arsenal finished second that year and we could have won the title, probably should have won the title. Leicester won. So don't say that there's some personal bias in this because my team ultimately lost to the team that I'm saying is the best turnaround in all of sports. But when you should have been relegated the year before and you had the great escape that just got out of the relegation zone the year prior, and then you go ahead and sack that manager that ultimately got you out of it, and then you bring in a manager that isn't even from the country, has never coached in the country, and you bring him in, Claudio Ranieri from Italy. Never's coached in Italy, or never coached in England, and he's expected to be the first manager sacked during the season. And your odds to win the championship are 5,000 to 1. And you win the title. You never beat Arsenal. You beat the Man Cities. You beat the Man Uniteds. And you set records while you're doing it, a.k.a. it's heaven. It's 11 for Jamie Vardy. And all of a sudden, we're going to say 2025 Indiana, the team that made the college football playoff the year before, was a top 10 team to start the year and had expectations of making the college football playoff, expectations to potentially contend for a national championship. Yet that's the biggest turnaround in all of sports? Leicester City is the biggest turnaround in all of sports. I don't care what anyone says, and I also don't understand this little media protection of the Indiana football program and Kurt Signetti. Like, let's start saying it how it is with this football program. Good football team, but it's not the best turnaround in sports because Leicester's better. From a team, if I'm looking at this, yes, we could say Indiana losing this program did this and this. But if we're talking about the teams going into the seasons that they won championships in, 5,000 to 1 odds compared to a team that's expected to make the college football playoff and eventually win and contend for a national championship, there's levels to this. It's not the same. Leicester will always, unless there's something that somehow breaks Leicester, then that'll be the greatest story. But there is nothing in sports, maybe the miracle on ice, but there is nothing, actually not even a turnaround. That's just an upset. There's nothing bigger in sport that will beat the biggest turnaround than what Leicester did in 2015, 2016. You can't tell me otherwise. Oh, and by the way, Indiana, Leicester had stars on their team. Riyad Mahrez, Jamie Vardy, N'Golo Kante, Ben Chilwell, Kasper Schmeichel. They had stars, unlike your football program.
So I agree with everything that you're saying. And I said this yesterday when you texted me about this. I said, I agree with you. I was just interested to hear exactly what your angle was. And I think you explained it well. I think you explained it perfectly well. That one team was in a state of turmoil. And just you just had the longest odds, the longest long shot odds in what you described. There was absolutely no way that anybody thought that they would even have a chance. And having to fight over a much longer season and a much longer stretch and a much more daunting amount of time to be able to even put themselves in that spot, let alone have a chance to go on and win it. I think you're completely justified in what you're saying, and I'll actually take this over to the Indiana side because you spent a lot of that time talking about Leicester City, but for Indiana, it is cool to see the turnaround. It is awesome to see a school like Indiana win a national championship again because they have been the doormat of college football for the entirety of their existence. That was an accepted reality at Indiana, much like I think it was an accepted reality at places like Vanderbilt for the longest time. We're just going to get we're going to get rolled by everybody. We're going to get rolled by everybody in the SEC. For Indiana, we're going to be Michigan's punching bag and Ohio State's punching bag for the entirety of their school's existence. Really until, I don't know, last year, this year. That is literally the list outside, unless you want to give Tom Allen a nod and be like, well, he brought Indiana back, but he didn't. But it is an awesome turnaround, and it is most certainly, if it's not number one, it is number two. And I don't think that there's any way that you can deny that. From an American sports perspective, I think it is probably the best turnaround. I think we can put other teams up there. I think the Tigers getting to the World Series after being the worst team in baseball, I think that's a massive turnaround. There have been, you're right. But there have been examples. But I think it's the greatest American example. I don't think it's the best example in the world, and here's why. The old model of college football, right, where programs had to build their teams homegrown. There was no way of going out and purchasing a brand new roster.
Oh,
there was no way
of
quarterback
that's 18.
There's no way you get a new head coach and everybody from his previous job just follows him there and they're immediately available to play. The old way in college football, rebuilds did not take 1 year. That was not a thing once upon a time. Jim Harbaugh would go to a place or a program and they would suck for a year and then they would turn around and be great, but it would be a slow build to the
good first year at Michigan.
He did, but to rebuild a program took so much more in the way of not just scouting and recruiting, but also in developing. And what we saw at Indiana was, make no mistake about it, as much as we want to call this team a Cinderella, they took advantage of the system just as much as any of the other big schools in this equation. Curt Cignetti came in and literally went out and found players that have 4, 5, 6 years of experience in college football, whether they were on the field or not. They've been in the conversation. They're much older, and he spent the money and he leaned on the donors to help him spend the money to bring all these kids in to essentially create a brand new team. And I always laugh when I go back to that clip of him saying, to the reporter, that a little bit more about Alabama's history and their resume than these kids do. Well, the truth is I don't even think the kids know about Indiana's resume or history. I don't think they know anything about. They came in because they wanted to make money, play football, play under Cignetti, and win a championship. But that is not the same type of rebuild as what it used to have to be. As Indiana has had a big alumni base for forever. They've had a big donor base for forever. So it's only impressive. As impressive as it is, as long as you understand the framework and the context in why it is impressive. It's Indiana. Now, no one expected this of Indiana, but if this was 10 years ago and you didn't have the ability to go out and drop millions upon millions of dollars on players, then maybe I would have said it would probably be the most inconceivable turnaround in sports history. But not with the way that it is aligned in the way that it's formatted now, because they took advantage of the system just as much as anybody else takes advantage of the system, and no shame against them. Congratulations. I'm happy. This has been the most wild, crazy college football season ever of all time. But maybe not of all time. That's a little bit of a stretch. However, it is impressive. But because of all of that, and because Curt Cignetti knew the business of college football just as much as he understands X's and O's, Curt Cignetti understands the business and what works in college football. And that's the part that I think makes him most similar to Saban. Of all of his guys that he's produced, Cignetti reminds me the most of Nick Saban, because I guarantee you, once upon a time, Saban also understood the business model of how to, when it comes to money and how to move money and how to get players to understand, like, hey, you're going to get the most out of this experience more than any other team in the SEC, just as much as Saban understands that side of the
more
business.
Than Kirby?
Cignetti. Oh, well, okay, I'll say second best. Yeah, Kirby, obviously, with his national championships. I was thinking about disciples here, but Cignetti, I think, is certainly, if he's not the best, he's the second best. But that's what, in my mind, makes it more conceivable that something like that could happen. But again, it's still goddamn Indiana. You still have to convince kids to come to Indiana over Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. So it's still crazy. But is it the best of all time? Is it the biggest of all time? No, I would agree that you are correct. It's not.
I was getting scared there for a moment. I really thought you were going to say Indiana was the biggest turnaround in terms of over. So by the way, I did a little bit of odds of who could win the national championship in 2025, 2026 going into the season. Indiana was third in order to win the national championship. So again, I can't say that you could say if this was a 2-year turnaround thing, sure, you could say Indiana is the biggest, but I'm talking just 1 year, and I'm looking at the table. Leicester went from 14th to first place, and they went back down to 12th, and then they just continued to suck. Which again, they greatest high, then go biggest low. But they had a 40-point difference, 41 points in 2015 to 81 in 2016. It's just unbelievable what they did, and ultimately they had 1 year of success, and then even some of their players that eventually went on to do other things. N'Golo Kante, World Cup winner, and Champions League winner. Riyad Mahrez, Champions League winner, Premier League winner as well. And then Jamie Vardy, who, again, if you want to talk about I feel like if Jamie Vardy would be a very good Texan, not saying football team, but like from the state of Texas. Like I'm talking Jamie Vardy would be really good for the state of Texas based on the way he acts and the way he portrays himself. But no, I think it 100% has to be Leicester. And the crazy thing is most fans would probably take that league title and be relegated for the rest of the time, but have that one league title. Now the question though is for Indiana, is this sustainable? Can they do it again and again and again? And I'm sure once we get closer to college football, we will talk about that.
Yeah. And I'm sure Kurt Signetti is perfectly capable of doing that. But I think there are definitely other organizations and teams that have been sputtering and then all of a sudden found some sort of magic.
Question here, because then I think this could really decide if you're a true Indiana Slappy or not.
I'm a new Indiana Slappy.
You're a very big Indiana Slappy. Somehow, some way, Lions win a Super Bowl. Would you say the biggest turnaround is the Lions or Indiana?
See, the hard thing is like, are we going off of like history, or are we going off of like from 1 year to the next? Because if the Lions were into the mix and win a Super Bowl next year, no, I wouldn't say that's even close to being the biggest turnaround in history.
But it's the losingest.
Going year to year.
It's like one of the losingest franchises of all time, and it's done in the same way that it's always been done in terms of the NFL. We don't have this NIL. We don't have this transfer portal to get everything done. It's still done the same way. And if you look at it, if the Lions were to go win the Super Bowl next year, a lot of these players, a lot of the staff, the way everything's been built up has been the traditional way, building through the draft, signing a couple free agents, and you have coaches and you hire good coordinators and all that stuff, promote from within. I still think, again, saying biased aside, I would take the Lions if the Lions win a Super Bowl over Indiana because it's done the same way that it's been done for years. Indiana, again, it's not Indiana's fault. It's not Signetti's fault. It's not no one's fault that they won it doing it the way that they did. It's not their fault. I'm not saying that. But the NIL, the transfer portal, it adds so much more. And for these players, look at Miami, Carson Beck for 6 years he's been there. And look at all the guys for Indiana, all these Miami players that have been there. It's not their fault. But I'm saying the Lions would have done it the traditional way compared to what what the Hoosiers did. And I would say the Lions would have to be a bigger turnaround simply because of that.
I would hesitate in saying that simply because Indiana in 2023 was 3-9 overall and 1-8 in Big Ten play. And they went from that to being a playoff team to then winning the national championship the year after that. Whereas the Lions have had years and years of success, at least over the last 3-4 years. And so all of this has kind of been building in the direction of winning a Super Bowl. Plus you already have all of the pieces. I get the history part of it. I understand but like quite literally
that giant boost that Indiana just had.
But it's not like the first year of Dan Campbell showing up, all of a sudden we were a playoff team. Like it was a build for a couple of years, and then we got to that point. Like Signetti shows up and they win 11 games. Like that only exists. but that only exists in like video games. I feel like, and like if I play college
The
football
Lions
25,
winning
yeah,
the
I can
Super Bowl
rattle
only
off
exists
11
in
wins.
video games.
Well,
Lions going to a Super Bowl
I
only
get
exists
that,
in video games.
but I'm looking like if we're talking about turnarounds, I'm picturing like 5-year window. I'm not. I know I like to work in the fact that Indiana is the worst team of all time, but even within the 5-year window, it would still look more impressive that Indiana did it versus the Lions if they were to do it like next year.
So you're
That's all I'm saying.
So you're saying the in order for the Lions to eclipse Indiana of winning a Super in terms of turnaround, Lions had to win a Super Bowl the second year that Campbell got there, because you also got to realize, like, you can't just get a whole bunch of transfer portal guys and just bribe people with all the money, all the best players. You can't
get it.
tamper.
No, I believe it. But at the same time, as much as I say that about Indiana, like Penn State still has the capability of doing that. Michigan, Ohio State, all these schools still have very much the ability and the availability to be able to do exactly what Indiana did. So I'm not saying that it makes it less impressive than what it would have been. All I was trying to do was paint a picture of if it had been during this era of college football, it would have looked a lot more impressive than if it was, again, when it is now in 25 and 26. But I still think it's the second best of all time. So
we're going to have a challenge one of these days, and it's going to be to say something bad about Indiana football. I don't think you can do it.
I have. I just did. I told them they were the second best turnaround ever, not the first.
That's not really saying that's not a bad thing, though.
It is a bad thing, all right? It's not the best, all right? I
when
told
Indiana
them they're
loses,
second best.
When Indiana loses some games this year, I want to know if I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you have it?
I want you to say.
So
I want you to say a positive thing.
I said they were a good football team time and time again. Do you have any Indiana like gear?
That I don't.
Because I've seen Purdue, which if the Indiana fan base knew that, they'd be pretty ticked.
Goodwill fine, man. Okay? Sorry. Like, it's getting tough out here, economically speaking. We got to, and it looks good. I look good in black. I've been told a couple of times. So I just, that's just my go-to. But anyways, no, you're probably right, okay? I probably need to not, I'll just give that one to Emily because she takes half of my stuff anyways. But, it's, that's something you have to look forward to here at some point. But let's take a quick break and bring it back. We'll talk a little bit about AFC and NFC championship games and what's going on at the Super Bowl. Maybe what else is going on around the Super Bowl as well. We got Green Day. And Bad Bunny is on top of that. But before we go to break, Man City Soccer Camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Manchester City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, 3 camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration using promo code MCNSN30, MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. What's up? Welcome back in on Inside the Game. First episode here this week, and a perfect day to have it. After what happened yesterday, getting into our all sports content today. AFC and NFC championships have been decided. The Seahawks and the Pats. We're throwing it back to 2015, just over a decade since the last time those two played. And obviously, yeah, everything that happened, it feels like poetic justice a little bit, having these two organizations back in the Super Bowl. Obviously, no Bill, no Tom. He'll be on the broadcast. Don't you worry about that, which I love. I think he's getting more and more comfortable on air. And I think it's kind of been cool to watch. And he's one of my favorites, at least on the broadcast now. It was just tough for him. You could tell early that his brain was so football oriented that the way he would talk on the broadcast, it would confuse people. They're like, Tom, you got to tone it back a little bit. Like, people don't really understand the language. You gotta dumb it down.
I think he talks
just a tone,
much.
but I think he's great. But that's what TV's for. It's an analyst driven platform.
I
like on radio, it's different. But
let KB cook. Tony Romo talks way too much. Let KB cook.
Yeah, you think
let
so?
Nance cook. If we're being honest, Olsen's the best. I feel bad for Greg Olsen. He should have been.
He's good. He's very good.
He should have been in time. He was in Tom Brady's spot. I shouldn't say should have been. He was in Tom Brady's spot, and obviously you get Tom Brady that pushes Greg Olsen out. But Greg Olsen should be in that spot. He's a way better analyst than Tom Brady.
Than the greatest player of all time? How could you say that? How could you say that?
He's also an owner of a
how
team.
dare you speak out against Tom Brady?
He's also
a
an
Michigan
owner of a
man.
team. He's fine.
But anyways, getting into this conversation. So the Pats and the Seahawks back in it. You were talking about it earlier. It's weird to see these teams meet up after a decade. But what were your biggest takeaways from those two matchups yesterday?
That I was 100% right on all of them. Yeah, I said the Broncos and Patriots would each score one touchdown, and it'd be field goals. I ultimately said 16-13, 19-16, something like that. 10-7. Pats win, ultimately. Mind you, Drake May has done nothing. He just put his name on the group project and done nothing. Still got an A. Then I said the Seahawks would win. Also, can we just kick the Patriots out of the Super Bowl and put the Rams and the Seahawks for the Super Bowl again? Like, the Patriots just don't. I can't believe the Patriots are in the Super Bowl at this point. I don't think they're going to win it. I want to say that it's going to be BTA, but it's not. I think it's going to be the Seahawks are going to win by 2 touchdowns. But, again, I want to say it's BTA, but I'm looking at the Miami-Indiana game. I thought Indiana would kill. Everyone said Indiana would kill Miami. I didn't think so. I thought Miami would hang in there. Ultimately, they did. Came down to the final drive. I still think the Seahawks win. But my biggest takeaway from all this is the year of coaching in all of football that's going to ruin a lot of coaching in the future. Hear me out. Indiana, Seahawks. Seahawks win the Super Bowl. Mike McDonald, second-year head coach, wins Super Bowl. Cignetti, second-year head coach, wins the college football playoff. That's going to ruin a lot of timelines. Also, Vrabel, first-year head coach with the Patriots, if he wins Super Bowl. This is going to be the year that ruins a lot of timelines for a lot of coaches. I don't think we're going to see a lot more John Harbaughs. John Harbaughs and Mike Tomlins in terms of being there for a decade plus. I don't think we're going to see that. And look at Sean McDermott. He just got fired. Maybe, I don't want to put it out there, but
you don't think we're already there?
I would say in the college football aspect, yes. But the NFL, we're not there yet. I don't think we're there yet.
Not with the rise of coaches like Sean McVay. Obviously, Mike McDaniel was really
McVay's
good
been there for a while.
Yeah, but McVay was really young when he was taking them to Super Bowls. I mean, how young was he when he first was hired by LA? I mean, I know he's been there for a while, but there's a reason he's been there for a while.
So is your argument young coaches in the NFL, or
that they're going younger and that the turnover rate is quicker?
That wasn't my art. I just said in terms of the timelines of that coaches have with their teams. It doesn't It doesn't matter age. I'm saying, so let's flash back 5 years. College football, you enter a job, you're given a minimum of 3 years unless you have a Sharon Moore or a Mel Tucker incident. You're given minimum of 3 years to get things going. That's not the case anymore. You're now given 2. Maybe some cases it's a year and a half to almost 2 years. Because Cignetti ruined that because he wins the national championship within 2. But what I'm saying, if you look at the Seahawks and you look at the Patriots, Seattle's second-year head coach, Mike Macdonald, in the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel, 1-year head coach, or first-year head coach with the Patriots. I know he had a stint with the Titans, but first-year head coach, he's now in the Super Bowl. So what I'm saying is, this is going to ruin the timeline for a lot of coaches. And what I'm saying is they're not going to have a longer leash. It does not matter age. That's not what I'm arguing. I am arguing that these coaches at the NFL level and these coaches, obviously we see NFL head coaches fired for within 3 years if they suck. But I'm saying if they have a little bit of success, like if I'm saying Dan Campbell, he doesn't do well with the Lions this upcoming year, maybe they give him another year. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if he were to get fired. I wouldn't be surprised. But if he doesn't make the playoffs, it's a hot seat. But all I'm saying is if you have a little bit of success, look at Sean McDermott, just a little bit of success, your leash, I think, is cut down by a year or 2 now, based on especially what Vrabel's doing, what Mike Macdonald is now doing, and I can't think of another coach. But, I mean, that's just what I'm looking at. It doesn't matter the age. It's obviously a young offensive mind-driven league. We've known that for years. But it doesn't matter age. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm just arguing timeline that they're going to be there.
Yeah. Well, and in the college football respect, I absolutely agree with you. I've said that on the show before. Like, the expectation is win now. Kyle Whittingham, the expectation is to win now. You can't win a couple of years from now. The fan base, the alumni base, the people are not going to allow that. At these big marquee programs, or really anybody, you could say with a big alumni base or a donor base that has the money to be able to produce really good players or get good players to come to your program. Yeah, absolutely. The expectation is to win now in college football. So you're 100%. The timelines in the college game have already been shortened, in my opinion. Yes, Cignetti winning it, I think, is going to kind of exacerbate the issue, and I think a lot of programs are going to start looking at, well, how do we get the right players in the right spots to go out and win? Again, productivity over, potential. You mentioned that was a great point, wonderful point by you, and it really kind of describes what we're seeing in the college game. However, in the NFL, I think things get maybe a little bit more murky in that way. I think there are certain organizations that have always been that way in terms of turnaround between, the expectation is win in this window. Well, if you don't, you're gone. We've seen the Browns conduct themselves that way. The turnover of Lions head coaches, Matt Stafford had how many head coaches in just his time in Detroit? But I don't necessarily think that a coach winning that quickly or winning a Super Bowl that quickly is going to change the entire landscape of the NFL. I still think there are organizations that realize you have to hold on to a head coach for a few years in order to kind of craft the team and exactly the staff that he needs in order to succeed. Like, I think that being a head coach in the NFL is much less about developing and identifying talent and everything along those lines. You're like the head of the organization. You're like the CEO. You're the face of the org. And so to find there's just a lot more involved with that. So I could see what you're talking about, where coaches, the expectation is to win quicker, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a shock to the culture as much as it is in college football. Because again, this difference between resources and the Wild West of, well, there's this collection of schools that have donor bases and have money and have resources, and then there's the rest of college football. It's a very different dynamic really between the two, and it all comes back to the checks and balances and just how the two leagues work. So anyways, I just think it's a little bit more murky on the NFL side, but on the college football side, you're 100% correct. No, there's no denying the fact that, like if Lane Kiffin doesn't succeed next year, he might be gone, or he might be in the conversation. If Lane Kiffin goes out and wins 7 games, we're all of a sudden having a conversation next year like the dude's not cut out for it. Sorry, like but it's 1 year. But that's where we're at, because he tampered with everything to get all the resources and all the coaches and everything, from Ole Miss just picking away at him during the playoffs. That, yeah, the expectation is win now, and there's no excuse for that outside of that. So no, I misunderstood what you said when you started talking about
Yes,
it. But,
I know it's an offensive young mind league. We've ever since I think ever since McVay got there, I think it's been a very young.
That's right.
McDaniel had a shot. I mean, obviously didn't succeed, but he was given a shot.
Right.
Look at Ben Johnson. I mean, I guess maybe not so much, because if you look at the two Super Bowl champs, I mean, McDonald's defensive oriented, Vrabel's defensive oriented. So maybe if anything, it could be defensive oriented now. I don't know. I think
defenses I feel like have always made the biggest difference in terms of like dynasties, though. Because like you even look back at like the Pats when they were rattling off Super Bowl after Super Bowl, like defenses. Brady's defense he has his defenses to thank for a lot of those Super Bowl rings. And, I'm just gonna say.
And I guess we could argue at this point now. I mean, this is a little different. If we look at it, if it's going defensive or if it's going offensive, the quarterbacks coming out of college suck now. Like it's not just this upcoming draft. I mean, you look at the previous ones, and I get it. We're gonna have busts. We're gonna have quarterbacks that ultimately suck. But the level of quarterbacks just suck. Like a lot of quarterbacks struggle now in the NFL because it's a read and react league, or in college. That's what everyone's taught. Where if you get to the NFL, it's kind of, you kind of got to pick and choose where everything's going. You got to know what coverage is in. You got to know what the disguises are. You don't get that in the NFL. That's why I think Fernando might struggle in year one, and I think Simpson's going to struggle in year one, and I think ultimately that's why Dante Moore didn't go to the draft, and he said, you know what, I'll take $7.5 million to come back to school and not have to get killed by NFL defenses for a year. But if anything, do you think that it'll become more defensive oriented, because you're going to have to become like these quarterbacks are going to take 2 to 3 years to really develop. Like I think it's going to be more like 3 years to develop. I mean, Drake May didn't have Drake May second year, obviously he's in. I mean, Sam Darnold, it took him till last year, and he was a number 2 or number 1 overall pick. But I mean, doesn't it kind of feel like it's going to be defensive oriented now, just based on how bad these quarterbacks are, and you can't really win?
Yeah, well, and it's shown that, defense. I mean, look at the two defenses we have in the Super Bowl right now. I mean, that's why they're there. So, no, 100%. And the other thing I would say is like the relationship between head coach and quarterback is the most important one in the building. Like there's no more important relationship than between the head of the company and the player that really kind of runs the machine, the franchise player. And so sometimes I think that's the hard thing about the NFL is like if the expectation is that that's going to result in success so quick, does that lead to the breakdown of that relationship? I don't know. So I just think it's definitely murkier when you look at the National Football League.
Yeah, that's why running backs are going to become so much more. Remember a couple of years ago when everyone was like, running backs are dead, like you get 1 year or 2 years out of them. But ever since like 2022, it feels like the running backs are going to become more maybe 2023, that the running backs are going to become so much more important because these quarterbacks aren't good right out of college anymore. Like they're not like. Well, again, there was some
usage rate has gone down because I think they realized in the NFL, like if we overuse our backs, that they're going to get hurt, that you might only get 1 or 2 good years out of them. That's still a very realistic thing about the running back position. Those guys wake up the next day and they're like, I got ran over by a train. Like that's every single week during the season, and even the off season for that matter. So I think the usage rate for backs has gone down, but the efficiency in which you can run the ball and in the times that you do hand it off and decide to go to the ground, it makes all the difference in the world. Continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Like if I'm looking at these quarterbacks, I mean, there's quarterbacks that, have had good rookie seasons where they're just kind of mid in terms of the grand scheme of things. But a lot of these QBs just stink. And I think this year just horrible. Like Caleb Williams had a good rookie season. He had no offensive line, but he had a good rookie season. We're starting to see him develop. But I feel like we're going to see a lot of quarterbacks. It's going to take 2 to 3 years, maybe midway through the second season, to really get things going, because you got to get out of that RPO system. like I guess Jane Daniels had a relatively really good rookie year. I guess I was a little bit wrong on that aspect. But I'm kind of just looking at this year's upcoming draft. Like it's just horrible.
Yeah.
And you look at last year's draft. What was it? Cam Ward and Shador. Was that really it? Was there another quarterback in there? I know Cam Ward, but I mean, outside of that, there just wasn't like it's just bleh. Like there's just nothing. Like it's just a whole bunch of mid quarterbacks. But yeah, that's just I just think the quarterback position is really going down. And also, that's another reason I've always wanted to say this for the Lions fans out there. If any of you are watching it. I don't know if we're like a Lions-based podcast anymore. I don't know. But for the Lions fans that are out there saying, like, oh, we should trade Goff and get this young quarterback. No, because then we're going to suck again. We're going to be trash. It's going to take another 2 years for them to even become good. And then we're going to lose the primes of Hutch and Gibbs and J-Mo and Amon-Ra for what? So a quarterback that can move a little bit? No. Keep Goff. 30-plus touchdown, 4,000 yards passing. No, you don't know ball. Shout out Amon-Ra.
Yeah. You know what people are obsessed with now, Ryan? The Lamar Jacksons of the world. Yeah. You knew exactly where I was going with that. Yeah.
Because they can see the highlights.
It is, highlights. It's
Tell me
flash.
what Lamar's won outside of MVPs.
Aura farming.
Tell me what he's won.
I'm not going to turn this into a bashing thing about Lamar because we can just sit here and Josh Allen.
Anything.
Yeah, well, you could say the same thing about Josh Allen, but Josh Allen's a big stay in the pocket, mobile. Throw the football down the field. He is mobile, but he ain't Lamar Jackson, like he's, but anyways, he still got wheels on him. It's so funny. One of my buddies that I used to work with played him in the bowl game when he was at Central Michigan. You know the name Mitch Stanizak by chance?
No, we've been over this before. I do not.
I know. I've told you. You don't know who he is? All right. Anyways, but he has a picture of Josh Allen juking him out. You can actually find it on Google. It's hilarious. But anyways, no, Lamar was he? Yeah. Yep. He was a defensive end at Central. He was the Bonamago years. He won one game his senior year, which was that
was right. Brady got fired.
Yeah, not great. But no. We can turn this into I don't want to turn this into a Lamar conversation. Again, we can make comparisons all we want, but people are obsessed with the do-it-all.
What's your guy's number?
What was it? What was he? Oh man, like 42 or something. I can't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you could probably find him on the.
Yeah, he's right here, number 44.
Or 44. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, he's right there. Yeah, I'd put that. If I was him, I'd put that up on my wall.
Did you, yeah. Yeah, you see the picture right now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd put that up on my wall if I was him.
He buckled him. And I actually went back and I think I saw the play because I watched the game replay from them playing Wyoming. But they talked about how everyone just kind of stood out on the field while he was warming up, while Josh Allen was warming up, just to watch him just take warm-up throws and just watching the ball just cut through the air. It's like this is different.
Was Cooper Rush?
And I had the same feeling. Yes. Yep.
Wow.
I believe at that
future
time. Yeah.
NFL starting quarterbacks. Cooper Rush started a handful of games.
Yeah. And he was pretty good for the stretch of time that he was in there. Obviously, you're not going to go away from Dak, but no, it is.
Does your buddy
story.
hang it up on the wall? Like, does he have the photo hung up on the wall?
No.
Oh,
but I think he needs to if he doesn't. I know. I would. Well, you
I
want to
don't
know a
care
fun
if he
fact
juked me
about
out.
your co-host?
Huh?
You want to know a fun fact about your co-host?
Enlighten me.
Okay. Played Orchard Lake St. Mary's my freshman year at West Catholic. If you don't know anything about OLSM, they'll kick you in the teeth. One of the kids on the team just so happened to be the son of one of the special teams coordinators for the Lions, or at least I think he was a special teams coordinator. I forget what his specific position was. It was a while ago. But gashed us on a couple of different plays. Caught one pass. We had a guy that was 3 yards behind him, run ended. He was 25 yards behind him. Go ahead.
Is it KJ Hamler?
Allen Robinson.
Oh, Allen Robinson. Okay, that's a good one too. Oh, great. You're older than me, obviously. Oh, that makes much more sense. You're older than me. Yeah, that'd make much more sense.
Yep.
I was thinking KJ Hamler.
Orchard Lake.
yeah, that makes way more sense. You wouldn't have played with. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. Yeah, dude, they produce wide receivers that go to Penn State.
Yeah. Well, and wasn't Ross? Didn't he go there? Michigan linebacker, his older brother. What was his name? Oh, geez, I'm blanking on his name right
Josh
now. Not
Ross?
John Ross. Not
Josh?
Josh Ross. Was Josh his older brother?
Josh was the
It's
youngest.
Josh, and then so Josh is the youngest. Whoever his older brother was played at Orchard Lake. Anyways, I'm getting off track here, but yeah, Allen Robinson was at Orchard Lake when I was at West Catholic. So, anyways, we saw that and we're like, okay, so there's layers to this, obviously. Like,
I'd
we're
hang
not
that
on
up
that
as
level.
I'd hang that up in my house. I don't even care if I got killed. I'd be like, dude, yeah.
Yeah, I got to face him. It's so funny watching certain sports where you're like where you have like one guy mixed in there that's just that much better than everybody else around him. Like it reminds me of when I saw Jacob deGrom throw against low A baseball players. Like it's just like how do you even touch the guy? You know, how do you
crazy.
even? He struck out 8 of 9, dude. The only one not to strike out is a kid from Muskegon, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, just diced him. It's just not even fair. But anyways, we got a question of the day today.
Oh boy, I forgot to even do that. Yeah, like when you for the people,
Actually,
for the people
go
at
ahead.
home,
Go ahead.
I don't have like today. I came in like 20 minutes before the show. Normally, I'm here like hour and a half, hour 20 before the show, and I get everything like situated. I like that like hour where I can get everything done. But no, like there's the one graphic I showed, and I don't even have question of the day. This wasn't the bottom bar wasn't even working for a little bit. I hit live with like 30 seconds to go instead of a minute. Like it's just been
We're scrambling. It's all right. I got one for you if you want to just, I don't know if you want to type it out on the screen and then we can give Salt Athletic a shout out.
Yeah, we have to.
Give
We
away
got
some
to announce the giveaway here today. I got the
yeah.
That's what this piece
So-
of paper was. It was the read.
Here, I got one for you. So just kick it to me. Let's do our little announcement and then I'll ask the question of the day today. How about that?
All right, that's fine. All right, everybody. There's a horn today too.
Woo!
There is a horn today. But for the people at home, let's see how I want to do this. Where's the back? Here it is. All right, first off, we have to announce this. We are giving away Salt Athletic bags. Yeah, that's right. The #1 smell-proof cleat bag that 100% works. We've tested it ourselves with stinky pennies, stinky cleats, everything that stinks. But anyway, here is how you guys can enter to win our Salt Athletic giveaway. We have 21 bags in total that we'll be giving away. So for the next 21 weeks, we'll be giving out 21 bags. Every Friday, we will announce it. But here is how you can win. Win a Salt Athletic bag. Head over to our Instagram, NatSoccerTV. Follow us. Tag a friend. We'll make a post about it, obviously. Then you guys go on the post. Tag a friend and comment hashtag NSN Salt giveaway. That's, again, hashtag NSN Salt giveaway. It's that easy. One winner every single week. But yeah, that is absolutely how you can enter to win this. So just head over to our Instagram, drop us a follow, tag somebody, and comment yourself. But anyway, here is the other Salt Athletic read. If you guys don't win, unfortunately, you guys can use a promo code to save 15% off on that #1 smell-proof cleat bag by using NSN as NSN15 to save 15% off. Scan that QR code or visit saltathletic.com today. Again, this is a little different, but again, question of the day. Sorry, I had to get it. What?
Just spamming that button.
Well, I didn't do it Friday. I had to get the numbers up.
That's fair. Are you excited for the Super Bowl musical performances?
No.
We got a real weird mashup going on. Early 2000s bangers all day long. Green Day, who just so happens to be my favorite band outside of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Billy
they're
Joel
up there.
Armstrong's an asshole, though. I don't like him. I like his music, but I don't like him.
Well, that's fair. You can separate the two. That's all I'm saying. But we got the Anarchists to start the show, and then we got Bad Bunny at halftime of the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't really obviously understand everything that he's saying, like some of those songs are a vibe, man. I mean, it's a, I can't, it's hard for me to listen to that vibey music when it's like 2 degrees outside, I will say. So it doesn't really hit with me in the middle of the winter nearly as much, much like I don't enjoy a Corona when it's a -1 degrees outside, or a Modelo or whatever the case may be. It's just not my go-to. However, I think some of it's a vibe personally. It's just the way that, it's just the way that I see it.
No. I'm not happy for any of it. No. It's not going to be good.
Man.
It's not going to
Come on. You don't like, you like Linkin Park, but you don't like Green Day?
I never
Come
said
on,
I
man.
didn't
I feel like that's
Green
kind of.
Day. I just think Billy Joel Armstrong's an asshole.
Oh, I mean,
And
he
he
has
gets
a
mad
certain.
that Justin Bieber goes on stage instead of him. And he just goes on a tantrum like a 5-year-old kid.
Well, I would be mad too. I mean, I just, I think the NFL is doing a great thing by reintroducing everybody. Again, I said the early 2000s is back, man. And we're going all in on it.
We're
going all in on it.
I wouldn't say Green Day is like even like top 15 favorite artists or bands for me, but like I think some of it's good. Some of it's catchy. But no, I just think it's all just gonna be trash. Like
just
punk
rock, man.
I'd rather have Linkin Park perform for halftime. I'd rather have give me Bruno again. Bruno would be sweet. Honestly, I just want the Red Hot Chili Peppers to be back. Like
well, okay, I'll give you that one.
Them and Bruno were I'm probably gonna rewatch that after the show. Like that's amazing.
That's fair.
But no,
a good mashup.
No, it's
just my only issue with Bruno sometimes is like his music sounds like what I would hear on the background of like a Macy's commercial. That's the only thing that sometimes gets to me about Bruno Mars music, or Kohl's or Target or I mean any of them, like, insert like
commercials then.
That's what, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, don't believe me, just watch like that song, like, like play that song out loud and then just be like, come down to Kohl's and save 15% on a pair of jeans when you buy blah, 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 and then you're like, oh my goodness, it's a commercial.
I'll give Bruno credit where credit's due. He actually, he talked about this, and they're like, why don't you make, because, a lot of artists, just single artists, make a lot of just music to make music, a.k.a. Jay-Z, just make music to make music. You're bound to have a hit. You throw enough darts to the dartboard, you're bound to have a bullseye. But Bruno said himself, he goes, I don't just pick people's beats. I make my own beats. Every sound you hear is mine. So he creates everything. So I got to give the guy credit. I know that's not really done nowadays. Like it's a lot of whatever computerized.
Oh yeah.
And like if you look at rap music, you look at any outside of country music, really. I mean, every pop music is all like a computerized whatever outside of country music. But I do got to give Bruno props for that because he actually uses true music. But what he did, him and the Red Hot Chili Peppers for the Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl, cinema, and that was a horrible Super Bowl. But the halftime performance, cinema.
Yeah. Well, and he is a great performer, I will say. I mean,
that's why I bought his tickets.
He has this. I'll be there too. So see you there.
What day? Saturday or Sunday?
Oh boy, I think I'm going on Saturday.
Okay,
pretty sure.
Do.
All right.
Where'd you get your tickets at?
Emily got them, so she got them for me and her, and don't know, but we're like all around each other, but we're not. I have to ask her what specific seats that I'm in. Are you down? All right, I'll let you know. All right, for sure. Maybe, I'm sure when I see him live, I'll have a complete change of heart on all this. But
dude, that's so true. That's like every time I hear like
Post Malone. I liked Post Malone, but when I saw Post Malone live, I was like, okay, all right, like I'm a fan now.
There was before the Thomas Rhett concert, there was this girl singer. I forgot her name. But, like, she sounded like I loved every song that she played live. Then I searched up on my phone. I'm like, this is trash. And then the band that played before Linkin Park, Paris, dude.
Yep.
Unbelievable live. Like, I'm like, dude, this music's insane. On the car ride home, I'm listening to it. I'm like, dude, this is horrible. But, like, live, dude, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd probably like Green Day live. Like, really like it. But no.
Well, it, Yeah. Anyway, I'm thrilled. I took victory laps when I heard that Green Day was doing it, mostly because like they're just like reintroducing Green Day to like this generation. Like, not that they were ever dead, like they were still making music, but like they haven't been mainstream since God knows when. So that was the only thing that I was kind of like, that's cool. That's cool that they're back in the limelight, that they're back in the picture. But no, Bruno, the other thing that I think a lot of like older people love Bruno because he's the closest thing to what they had in terms of like the MJ generation of
Prince
music.
and Michael
You
Jackson.
know what
A
I
lot
mean?
of people say that.
Yeah, and so like I'm not. He is imitating, but he's not trying to duplicate, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, he's not trying to be MJ, but he is doing things like MJ. So I think for a certain crop of people who love that style of music, which MJ has catchy music, but I wouldn't necessarily say that was ever my flow, the stuff that I love. Like, of course you're going to play, Thriller, like a Halloween Party or whatever. Like, you have to. Like, it's a banger, but it's never really been my style. So maybe that's it. But again, a lot of what makes him great, much like MJ, is how he performs. Like, the music itself is okay,
really
but like
good.
when you see his ass moonwalk from one side of the stage to the other, that's the thing about Michael Jackson where you're like, oh, okay. Obviously I never got to experience that, but I'm guessing that Bruno kind of has that same effect on people.
Yeah, when you play Teen Spirit by Nirvana, but you're singing Billie Jean, and then you transition it into Seven Nation Army. Yeah, I would say people really like the way you perform.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But by the way, before we go to before we cap this off, I've always found like it's hard for like rappers and like certain hip hop artists to do like halftime shows.
Yeah, because
it's
rap.
like there's and it's like it's
my
tough.
dad has said you can't listen. He doesn't like listen. Like, he likes rap music, but he does not want to go to a rap concert. Like, it's just I don't know what it is, but you just can't. I don't know. I heard a lot of people don't like rap concerts.
It's like the perfect. It's like you have to have the perfect mix of like the lyrics and the beat around it. Like, if you don't have that mix and it just sounds like shouting, it's like,
yeah, and it's like there's no instruments really, so you can't really like have like an amazing guitar solo or like a drum solo or a piano solo. Like, you can't have that. And then like they're not dancing on stage because there's so many words that you have to get in a short amount. I don't know. I wouldn't go to a rap concert either.
Yeah. So, anyways, just kind of weird when you talk about halftime performances and stuff.
Give me Bruno and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I'm looking forward to Green Day, man. We'll see exactly how that pans out. But thanks for joining us on our Monday edition. Back at it tomorrow, back in our 9 o'clock slot, 9 to 11 a.m. Check us out on social media, National Soccer Network. And until we talk to you guys then, this has been episode 215 on Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.